Master Reddit, subscribe for more videos.
What's a common fact that's actually incorrect? It's not dangerous to wake a sleepwalker. They won't have a heart attack or be put into a coma. They'll just be confused and it won't be pleasant for them, that's it. And depending on what kind of dream they're in, they might hit you. No one was ever burned at the Salem witch trials. They were all either hanged, died in jail, or crushed by rocks. Edit: I did not learn this from Molly's Game. I learned it from Salmonella. Correct. Burning was a European thing. Yeah, in Europe we were a lot more crazy about witches. I always find it funny that in the UK we executed thousands of witches before we eventually got tired of it, and then when the Americans did it a few years later at Salem we were all like, wow, look at those primitive, violent Americans, we would never do something like that here. You can put birds back in their nests. The mother will not reject them. I learned this when I was little. Being the idiot I was, I thought hitting a tree with my t-ball bat was a good idea. I ended up accidentally knocking 3 baby birds out of a nest. The mother was not home, so I put them back in the nest. I checked up on them when the mother would go out. A few times they fell out again, so I would put them back in. Eventually time passed and they grew into strong little birds. They all ended up flying away eventually. Was a nice ending to a stupid decision by my like 8-year-old self. It's commonly said that lightning never strikes twice in the same place. In fact, it does, and frequently. Lightning has literally struck the Empire State Building thousands of times. That thing is a massive lightning rod. You most probably weren't the fastest sperm cell. The egg has an outer protective layer that takes several sperm to wear down before fertilization. Honestly, you were probably one of the slowest sperm cells who arrived too late to do any work but still won the race of life. Also, the egg actually has a number of chemical barriers that select sperm with certain attractive chemical markers. The egg actually chooses which packet of DNA makes it to fertilization. Edit: also, since a lot of people are calling the egg stupid, the chemical marker the egg chooses are decided upon the conditions before the conceiving period. For e.g., if a mother eats a lot of good nutritious food, the chance of having a boy gets significantly increased. Edit 2, guys, you don't have to believe everything you see in the internet, but before calling it bullshit at least try to do your own research. I was too lazy to link a study before, but here after the 1000th comment that this is bullshit, here is a paper. And somehow it picked the worst traits. So you are telling me that a ducking egg decided that I will be a compilation of most genetic disorders in my family? No one said the egg was the sharpest tool in the shed, the fastest sperm cell. There are not different sections of the tongue for each taste. When I was a kid they had us take one of those standardized tests on the computer. One reading article went on and on about the taste sections of the tongue. I've believed this my whole life. We only use 10% of our brain power. You always use 12 watts. That is the total power of the brain. Pretty sure my parents would disagree with that. Why is that? Are they neuroscientists? No, they think I'm retarded. More specifically, you use all of your brain, but use different parts at different times, rather than all at once. This is why you never hear doctors saying thank God, he got shot in the 90% of the brain that doesn't do anything. The phrase wasn't Luke, I am your father. It was no, I am your father. Shut up. To add on to that other fact, in Snow White, the queen never says mirror mirror on the wall, she actually says magic mirror on the wall. Edit to say that it turns out in the original Grimm Tales books the queen does in fact say mirror mirror, and it was the Disney adaptation that went with magic mirror instead. It's Berenstain, not Berenstein. Daddy long legs are the most venomous spiders in the world, but they can't bite you. I hate this one so damn much. Daddy long leg spiders are not venomous to humans at all. No, they can't bite you, but even if they could, you wouldn't die or come anywhere close. Edit: apparently they aren't even spiders either. WTF. Another edit: guys, read the comments before you post that they can bite. Other people explain that for you down there. Daddy long legs aren't spiders. Spiders have 2 body segments. Daddy long legs refers to 3 different types of animal. Cellar spiders, which are venomous spiders, but not dangerous. Crane flies, which are also known as mosquito eaters, are adult stage insects that do not feed on anything. And Apiliones, or harvestman, which is an arachnid but not a spider and is not venomous. Gladiator games in ancient Rome were not 2 men go in, 1 comes out. The figure I've seen in most studies is a chance of 1 to 9 for a gladiator to die during a munus that he took part in. That's huge, of course. But still means that, In most cases, it wasn't a fight to the death. If people knew that the vast majority of gladiators were highly trained entertainers, they'd know that of course they weren't killed often. Most were slaves, yes, but their masters spent a large amount of time and money to shape them for the games. Hell, it wasn't even uncommon for a slave gladiator to buy their freedom and remain a gladiator. Fights to the death were generally accidents or were public executions for criminals, albeit with a couple of extra steps for the entertainment of the crowd. These fights were in the minority. It's difficult to translate into modern times because the ancients often had a different understanding of slavery. While conditions were appalling at places like silver mines, the law was quite strict in mistreating slaves, many of whom had positions working in the household as tutors and such. Of course, always exceptions to be found, but being a slave in the Roman Empire isn't comparable to being one in a Caribbean sugar farm. Exactly, you wouldn't, for instance, want to mistreat the expensive Greek slave you bought to teach your children and take care of them, and there were indeed laws to protect such slaves. The schlubs you had working on the vineyard, on the other hand, well, they aren't so valuable and the law is a long way off. The beverage used by Jim Jones to kill all of those people was not Kool-Aid, it was another brand called Flavor Aid. Some bitch didn't even use the real deal. Fact then, putting butter on a burn will heal it. Fact now, don't try it. Cool water and cool water alone. Fats trap it and ice can just make things worse. This is a good one. You don't defibrillate someone to revive them from death. Defibrillators are used to fix irregular heartbeats, not restart a stopped heart. If you don't have a pulse but do have electrical activity that is shockable, you defibrillate. When patients lose a pulse, we will still consider them dead because it's by definition a cardiac arrest. So your point isn't correct, sorry. Source: Emergency Medicine Resident. The belief that Jingle Bells was written to be a Christmas song. Wrong. It was intended to be a Thanksgiving song. I thought it was about Batman's lack of personal hygiene. That Adolf Hitler was an atheist. Actually, Hitler was raised Roman Catholic. But when he wrote Mein Kampf, he believed that God created the peoples. SS members were also required to believe in God as well. Hitler also referenced God in many of his speeches. Not to mention that he went hunting for religious relics to give him supernatural power. He had to have some kind of faith. The Tuskegee syphilis experiment didn't involve injecting people with syphilis, as is commonly believed. It's still used as the go-to example of unethical medical experiments, however, because it involved observing the progression of untreated syphilis, and not treating subjects with penicillin when it became available. And they lied about it. These people, mostly black, were told they were getting treatment. Paul Revere was not a hero of any kind. First, he never would have said the British are coming because they were all British. Not to mention, it would have alerted the British forces where he was with all his yelling. All Paul Revere did was ride 12 miles and then get caught. Also, he wasn't the only rider. The accurate event, and one that is way more compelling and interesting, was Sybil Ludington. She was only 16 years old. Prior to her famous ride, Sybil saved her father from capture. A loyalist named Ichabod Prosser and 50 other loyalists tried to capture her father, but Sybil lit candles around the house and organized her siblings to march in front of the windows in military fashion, creating the impression of many troops guarding the house. The loyalists fled. 9. On April 26, 1777, Sybil Ludington rode her horse, Star, 40 miles through the night in Putnam County, New York, to alert 400 revolutionaries of the upcoming arrival of British soldiers. Young Sybil carried a stick on horseback to bang on the doors she passed, cutting down on her travel time. Her heroism brought George Washington to her house to personally thank her. So why does Paul Revere get the credit? He had a publicist. The penis is a muscle. False. The penis consists of a unique tissue that inflates with blood and restricts the blood from leaving, which inflates the tissue and creates an erection. The same type of tissue exists in your nose, which is why you get a stuffy nose from sneezing/crying/allergies, all of which increase blood flow to the face. Edit. Wanted to add for cringe factor, but you can rupture or break your penis as well. Smile. Shit is all digested and unprocessable food waste. When really up to 50% of it is dead bacteria cells. That much chunky hard bacteria is just sitting in my body? There's that much in there that it densities into 50% shit and still takes up lots of space? Your intestines are 6 meters long. Every inch of the inside are covered on bacteria. Between 25 and 500 million bacteria can fit in 1 inch too. Their life cycle is between 12 min and 12 hours. Lots of bacteria die between shits. Dogs do not see in black and white. They can see some color, it just looks really washed out. Edit, https://m.youtube.com/watch v equals a0_e_f please. Here's a link that helps explain it and show how dogs see. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button and comment below letting me know. It helps the channel and lets me create more content just like this. If you do like this type of content, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss an upload.